There's a heavy, unsettling quiet in America's ghost cities, a silence filled with echoes of what used to be. Once, these streets were alive with the sounds of daily life, the hum of traffic, the chatter of neighbors, the pulse of a thriving community. Now, all that remains is a haunting stillness, as if time itself has paused. Imagine driving down a multi-lane road, alone, past boarded-up theaters and vacant skyscrapers. The city's heart, once beating with energy and ambition, now feels frozen in a moment of loss. Every empty storefront and shattered window tells a story of dreams interrupted and lives uprooted. These aren't ancient ruins, they're modern cities, hollowed out in our own lifetime. The architecture is familiar, the infrastructure still recognizable, but the life that once animated these places has vanished, leaving behind only the shell of what was. The sight is both fascinating and deeply disturbing, a stark reminder of how quickly fortunes can change. It's a visual record of economic shifts, industrial decline, and the fragility of prosperity. Each crumbling facade is a testament to the unpredictable tides of history. Exploring these places forces us to confront a different side of the American dream, where prosperity isn't permanent. Here, the promise of growth and opportunity has faded, replaced by uncertainty and abandonment. Yet these empty neighborhoods also invite us to reflect on what community truly means. You can almost hear the ghosts of the past, the roar of factories, laughter in overgrown schoolyards, the buzz of busy streets. The echoes linger, reminding us that these places were once full of life, hope, and ambition. These cities were once engines of industry, now reduced to monuments of lost jobs and broken promises. The factories that powered generations now stand silent, their machinery rusting, their purpose forgotten. Yet, their legacy endures in the memories of those who called these places home. The scale of abandonment is staggering, challenging our very idea of what a city is. Block after block, entire neighborhoods lie empty, overtaken by nature and time. It's a sobering vision of what happens when progress leaves people behind. This is a journey into that unsettling silence. We'll walk through streets where only memories remain, searching for meaning in the emptiness and trying to understand how these vibrant places became shadows of themselves. We'll explore what defines a modern ghost city, the forces that emptied them, and the people who remain. Their stories reveal resilience, heartbreak, and the struggle to hold on to hope in the face of overwhelming change. This isn't just a story of decay, it's about survival, adaptation, and the enduring human spirit. Even in the midst of ruin, people find ways to rebuild, to nurture hope, and to create new beginnings from the ashes of the past. By understanding these cities, we learn lessons about change, resilience, and the hope for renewal. In the silence of America's modern ruins, we discover not just what was lost, but what might still be possible. When we hear the term ghost town, most of us instantly picture dusty main streets from the Old West, lined with wooden storefronts and swinging saloon doors, all left behind by a vanished era. But today, the idea of a ghost city has taken on a new, more complex meaning, one that's both haunting and deeply modern. A modern ghost city is a sprawling urban landscape that's lost the heartbeat of its population and economy, leaving behind miles of empty roads, silent skyscrapers, and infrastructure built for a bustling life that no longer exists. The root cause is often severe depopulation, triggered by the collapse of a single industry like steel, coal, or manufacturing that once supported thousands of families. As jobs disappear, families pack up and leave in search of opportunity, and the city's tax base shrinks, making it impossible to maintain basic services. Schools and hospitals, once the pride of the community, are forced to close their doors, and the city's physical structures begin to decay from neglect. Neighborhoods transform into patchworks, some homes still lived in, others overtaken by weeds and silence, creating a checkerboard of life and abandonment. Imagine a school built for thousands of children now echoing with the footsteps of just a few hundred, its playgrounds empty and classrooms shuttered. The city's infrastructure, roads, bridges, utilities, becomes a heavy burden, expensive to maintain and serving far fewer people than intended. Yet, these cities aren't completely deserted. A resilient few remain, living among the ruins, carrying on daily life in the shadow of what once was. For those who stay, every street and building is a reminder of better days. Memories of prosperity linger, but so does the uncertainty of what the future holds. The sheer scale of abandonment changes the city's very identity, turning once vibrant centers into places defined by emptiness and loss. Understanding this transformation is crucial. It's not just about economic decline, but about the profound reshaping of a city's soul and spirit. In these places, it's the absence, the empty lots, the silent streets, the overgrown buildings, that tells the story of what was lost and what remains. To truly understand the phenomenon of ghost cities in America, we need to look closely at Detroit, Gary, and Centralia, three places that tell very different stories of decline and resilience. Detroit was once the proud Motor City, a global symbol of American industry and innovation. Its factories produced millions of cars, fueling dreams and livelihoods. But as the auto industry faltered and jobs vanished, much of Detroit was left abandoned and decaying, with entire neighborhoods falling silent. While some downtown areas are experiencing a slow revival, with new businesses and art scenes emerging, many neighborhoods remain trapped in blight, struggling to recover from decades of neglect and disinvestment. Gary, Indiana, was built for steel, a city that rose almost overnight to serve the booming industry. But when the steel mills closed and the industry collapsed, the city's fate was sealed and its decline was swift and severe. Gary's population has plummeted over the years, leaving behind blocks of empty lots, crumbling landmarks, and a haunting sense of what once was. The echoes of its vibrant past linger in the empty streets. Centralia, Pennsylvania, tells a different story, one not of economic collapse, but of environmental disaster. An underground mine fire, burning since 1962, turned the town into a hazardous wasteland. Toxic gases, sinkholes, and the ever-present threat of collapse forced almost everyone to leave. Today, only a handful of residents remain, holding on to memories as the earth smolders beneath their feet. Detroit's story is a warning about the dangers of relying too heavily on a single industry, and the vulnerability that comes with it. Gary reveals the devastation that deindustrialization can bring, showing how quickly prosperity can vanish when the economic engine stops. Centralia stands as a stark warning of environmental catastrophe, where a single disaster can erase a community almost overnight. These cities are more than just statistics or cautionary tales, they're stories of ambition, loss, and the profound human cost of change. Each empty home and faded photograph tells a personal story. Even in near abandonment, the spirit of these places endures, echoing through empty streets and silent buildings. They remind us how quickly a thriving place can become a modern ruin, overtaken by nature and time. And they challenge us to remember the people behind the headlines, the families, workers, and dreamers whose lives shaped these cities, and whose stories still matter. The fall of America's ghost cities was a slow-motion collapse, rooted in the decline of the industries that built them. Cities like Detroit and Gary thrived on manufacturing, but their reliance on a single economic engine made them vulnerable. Globalization and automation slashed jobs, and the urban middle class vanished. White flight to the suburbs drained tax dollars, eroding city services and accelerating decline. The result, a downward spiral of blight and abandonment. Centralia's story is different. An environmental disaster made the town uninhabitable. Poisonous gases and unstable ground forced a government evacuation. Whether economic or environmental, these forces left behind empty streets and shattered communities. Ghost cities are a warning of what happens when change outpaces adaptation. Life in a ghost city is a study in contrasts. Survivors form tight-knit communities, bound by shared hardship and pride. But daily life is tough. Basic services are unreliable, and food deserts are common. Abandoned buildings pose safety risks and attract crime. Isolation is profound, especially for the elderly, with entire blocks left empty. Yet many residents work hard to maintain their homes and create order amid decay. Community gardens and neighborhood watches offer hope and connection. Despite the struggle, their resilience is a testament to the human need for home and purpose. In the ruins, they find dignity and community. The exodus from America's industrial cities was driven by lost opportunity. When factories closed, jobs vanished, and families moved to places with better prospects. Even those with jobs saw their cities crumble, services cut, schools decline, crime rise. For many, leaving was an investment in their children's future. white flight accelerated the decline, fueled by a mix of suburban dreams and racial tensions. As more people left, businesses closed, property values plummeted, and the city's reputation suffered. Some residents were trapped, unable to sell their homes. The result was a self-perpetuating cycle of decline. The Great Exodus wasn't a single event, but millions of individual choices that drained the life from proud cities. It's a collective tragedy born from practical decisions. In Centralia, one story stands out. John Lokitis Jr., one of the last residents. While most accepted buyouts, John's family stayed, clinging to their home as the town vanished. He became caretaker and historian, maintaining the cemetery and street signs in a near-empty landscape. His daily life was solitary, his nearest neighbor far away, the silence absolute. John's choice wasn't ignorance, but deep attachment to his roots. Eventually, he too had to leave, but his story shows how place is tied to memory and identity. Centralia's last residents remind us of the human cost of displacement and the strength of our connection to home. Can a ghost city recover? Across America, cities are trying new approaches. In Detroit, downtown investment has sparked a revival, but it's limited to small pockets. The other strategy, right-sizing, consolidating residents into stable neighborhoods and repurposing vacant land. Urban greening transforms empty lots into farms, parks and forests, improving life for those who remain. These projects create jobs, provide fresh food, and build community. But challenges remain: gentrification, emotional costs, and tough decisions about land use. There's no single solution. Real renewal requires investment, grassroots action, and shared benefits. The seeds of recovery are being planted, but it's a long, uncertain road. What matters most is including those who stayed through the hardest times. Renewal is possible, but it demands patience and hard work. America's ghost cities are stories of loss, but also of resilience and hope. Their decline reminds us that nothing is permanent, industries rise and fall, and communities must adapt. The lesson: resilience comes from diversification and planning for the future. The people who remain show the power of grassroots action, community gardens, neighborhood patrols, and mutual support. Renewal doesn't come from a single investor or government plan, but from collective will. Ghost cities challenge our ideas of success and failure. A city is more than its economy, it's a community of people. Even in silence, the spirit of these places endures. Their struggle and small victories offer hope. In the ruins, new life and purpose can be found. Listen closely, and you'll hear the sound of resilience.